Andy Williams was best known to the world as a pop music crooner. His biggest hit was the song Moon River, popularized via the 1961 film Breakfast at Tiffany's. While Andy's appearance in the world of popular music was squeaky clean, his personal life suggested there might have been some darker shades to the man than the public was aware of. One of the more notorious legends suggests that he might have been involved in an extramarital affair with the late Robert Kennedy's wife during the 70s. Join Facts First as we explore how Andy Williams got a little too close to the Kennedy family. Andy Williams' early life. Andy Williams was born December 3, 1927 in Wall Lake, Iowa. According to him, the city of Wall Lake was a great place to grow up, and it had a distinct small-town atmosphere that helped turn the future star into the charming figure he ended up being. One of Andy's most vivid memories from growing up was the time a tornado ravaged the fields near his house while he and his mother hid in the cellar. He also loved sharing stories about the times he was allowed to work with his father. Andy's father was a postman, and he had fond memories of his father hiding him in mailbags so he could pop out and scare onlookers. It seems as though Andy had an incredibly happy childhood, though things changed when his father realized that Andy and his brothers were talented singers. Andy Williams and his two older brothers were singers at the local church choir in Wall Lake, and their father realized at some point that they had voices that could make them stars. Andy's father then set about promoting the boys to local radio producers. According to Andy Williams, his father was very hard on them during this period of time, as he was always pressing them to sing better than they could. It seems Andy's father liked to tell the kids they needed to practice more than the competition because they lacked the innate talent to surpass it on their own. Andy was forced into show business by his father. After attempting to promote his three sons to radio producers around the state of Iowa, Andy Williams' father eventually realized the real money was in Hollywood. With this, his father moved the family to Los Angeles and continued pushing his three boys to be the best singers they could. This hard work and perseverance ended up paying off for them when they caught the attention of popular crooner Bing Crosby. Bing apparently thought the boys would be perfect for singing backup for him on his song Swinging on a Star. Bing performed the song in his hit film Going My Way, and the hit track ended up winning the Academy Award for Best Original Song. Soon after this, Andy was offered the chance to dub over actress Lauren Bacall's singing voice in the film To Have and Have Not. This ended up being Bacall's breakout role, but producers weren't all that confident about the burgeoning star's singing voice. Thus, 16-year-old Andy Williams was tasked with dubbing over it. It remains unclear just how much of this job Andy performed before director Howard Hawks slammed his fist down and demanded that Lauren Bacall's singing voice be included. Howard got his way, which meant Andy's dubbing stayed on the cutting room floor. Later, the trio of Andy and his brothers caught the eye of popular female comedian Kay Thompson. Kay hired the boys to work alongside her during her comedy act, and this led to Andy starting up an affair with the much older star. The age difference between Andy and Kay was in excess of 2 decades, but this didn't stop the two from falling in love. Kay was more interested in Andy than she was in his 2 older brothers, and these older brothers eventually ended up retiring and leaving Andy to work with the female comedian alone. Andy and Kay continued their romantic relationship, and Kay used her star power to boost her much younger romantic partner's profile. Before we tell you more about that, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Kay Thompson helped Andy become famous. While Andy Williams was romantically involved with Kay Thompson, she used her Hollywood connections to secure him some airtime on late-night television. This is how Andy ended up becoming a star. Soon after becoming a celebrity, Andy ended his romantic relationship with the much older Kay Thompson and set his sights on a young Las Vegas showgirl named Claudine Longuette. Williams married Longuette in 1961, and the crooner broke out into greater prominence than ever that same year as a result of the hit song Moon River. Moon River was written for the film Breakfast at Tiffany's. In the film, the character of Holly Golightly sang the song. But when it came time for the song to be performed at the succeeding Academy Awards ceremony, it was Andy that was tasked with singing it. As a result of his performance, Andy went on to become more closely associated with the song than Audrey Hepburn was. Moon River remains Andy's most well-known song to this day. The 60s was Andy's biggest decade. During the 1960s, Andy Williams was on top of the world. In 1962, a year after marrying his first wife and receiving his first big hit song, Moon River, the crooner was given his very own variety show to host. That was called The Andy Williams Show, and it made stars out of some notable celebrities. In addition to making a star out of Andy's first wife, Claudine, the show also introduced the public to the Osmonds. This period represented the height of Andy Williams' popularity, and it was also during this time that he befriended the Kennedys. As legend has it, Andy and his wife grew to become very close friends with Senator Robert Kennedy during the 1960s. Andy and Claudine used their celebrity status to help the politician increase his political profile. Legend also has it that Andy and Claudine had plans to have dinner with Robert and his wife the evening of the day the senator was shot. Andy saw the assassination live on television and subsequently rushed to visit his close friend in the hospital. It's been said Andy offered his tie to the senator upon arriving, as Robert had forgotten to put on his own before being shot. Though the gesture was meaningful, it wasn't enough to keep Robert alive. Given that Andy was one of the closest and most notable friends of Robert Kennedy, the crooner was invited to perform at the politician's funeral. Andy accepted the invitation and sang a song Robert had used during one of his previous campaigns, the Battle Hymn of the Republic. According to Andy, the late Robert Kennedy always loved to sing the song, but didn't have the voice for it. Andy had a hard time keeping his own voice from cracking as he sang it at the late politician's funeral. He was able to keep from crying during his performance, but it was a close call. Did Andy Williams sleep with Robert Kennedy's wife? Robert Kennedy was murdered in 1968, and he left behind a widow, Ethel. Andy and his own wife, Claudine, were just as close with Ethel as they were with Robert. In fact, it seems Andy may have been closer with Ethel than he was with Robert. Following Robert's death, the pair could be seen fraternizing, seemingly non-stop, over the course of the ensuing end of the 1960s and into the 70s. Andy was still technically married to first wife Claudine at the time, though they had separated. As a result of all the time Andy and Ethel spent together, many people began wondering if the crooner had seduced the late Robert Kennedy's widow. But Andy went to his deathbed in 2012, claiming he and Ethel had never been anything more than good friends. Andy and first wife Claudine finalized their divorce in 1975, and Andy went on to remarry once before his death. His second wife was a woman named Debbie Meyer. They tied the knot in 1991 and remained married until Andy's 2012 passing. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite memory of Andy Williams? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.